We've talked about the Music Box a lot on this show, and that is because they're just a gem here in Chicago. If you live anywhere where the Music Box is near enough to go to a movie, you should absolutely do it. And I have the perfect one for you. As part of their Music Box of Horrors, this October 8th at 7 p.m., they are hosting a special screening of with none other than us, CinemaJaw. We will be presenting the film along with Ali from Ali's Reptile Den, who will be bringing some real life to the show with his reptiles. We got pythons, we got spiders, we got all kinds of weird things. Come and see his amazing demonstration and the crazy 70s exploitation movie. You hiss it, you don't say it. It is 7 S's. Tickets are available right now at musicbox.com, and the link will be in the show notes of this show. Do it.
See you there.
You're listening to CinemaJaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from CinemaJaw Studios in Chicago. My name is Matt K, and with me is
Rye, the movie guy, and right to my left is none other than KP.
Hello, how are you two?
Good.
This week on CinemaJaw, Matt, we are talking Pitt, we are talking Clooney, our top 5 favorite out of their 2 filmographies. We've never done this before, actually.
That's true. We've never split the top 5 between 2 different actors.
No.
It's a little wonky.
What we're doing basically is putting all their films of both these actors into a pool and then saying what are the top 5. And I'm interested to see where we all land on more Pitt movies or more Clooney movies.
And when you say we all, that's because we have some guests this week, don't we? We have Jada Krueger and Taylor King. They have a new movie out on Amazon Prime. I saw it. I enjoyed it. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, sounds like you had a good time with Alien Weekend.
I did.
Can't wait to talk to those two.
Yeah, and we saw some other movies too, right?
We did. We saw Wolves.
Yes, we did.
Very
Pitt
weird
and
title because
Clooney.
you want to say wolves, but it's
Right.
Woofs.
It's Wolves. Yeah.
Woofs with an S.
With an S, not an EVS.
And that's where the wonderful top 5 came in. We got Brad Pitt and George Clooney working together again. Plus, the documentary Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, I was able to catch as well. So 2 good reviews there. And it is still Tim Burton month. So we'll be celebrating Tim Burton. And why don't we start it right there, Matt?
I agree.
With a Tim Burton fact.
There is a lot of Tim Burton deep lore. We've been really diving. I feel like the dude has a lot about his personal life just out there, which I respect. And we are starting with not only his humble beginnings in this week's fact, but those of his parents. He comes from a lot of esteem. Full named Timothy Walter Burton to one minor league baseball player. His father used to play retired due to an industry. And his mother owned a cat-themed gift shop in Burbank, California. It was called Cat Plus. And, like, honestly...
Tim Burton's such a cat guy.
He is a cat.
There's no way he's a dog guy.
Both of those things, like, the dude sounds like a character from a Tim Burton movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
You can't write that.
I know he made Frankenweenie, but he's a cat guy all the way through, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good stuff. Also, should be mentioned, we're playing trivia this week in honor of Wolves. We're playing Wolf movie trivia.
All right. All right. We'll see how I do on Wolf. I think I'm pretty good with wolves.
Yeah?
In general.
In general.
Yeah. I know my werewolves, that's for sure.
Might come up.
All right. I'm ready.
All right, let's get this show rolling. Without further ado, we bring in our guests. Jada Krueger and Taylor King have a new movie out on Amazon Prime entitled Alien Weekend. Welcome to CinemaJaw.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, and thank you for rolling with our technical difficulties at the top. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely. They happen.
So where are you guys located now? Where are you calling in from?
We're calling in from Peru, Illinois.
Wow. So they are from Illinois.
Locals.
This threw me off because when the movie starts, it is done by New Zealand and Sons production company. And I thought, well, maybe they were going to be calling in from New Zealand. Where does that title come from?
Yeah, so that was just my dad, who's the other half of New Zealand Sun Films. That was just him being clever. We started a production company about 10 years ago, and when we're trying to figure out how to name it, my mother being from New Zealand, she's a full-blown Kiwi. I am the New Zealand Sun, so that's where we got the name.
Nice, nice. Have you been to New Zealand? I would imagine probably, yes.
Many, many times. We lived there at one point when I was a kid, and so, yeah. In fact, my grandmother is in the Two Towers. So
really,
yeah,
that's awesome.
She's a running villager at some point.
Nice.
All right, so Taylor, you wrote and directed this film, and Jada, you star in it. So let's start with Taylor. Where did this idea for Alien Weekend come from? And let's give the Jawheads the elevator pitch. I was saying it's kind of like Clerks meets Paul with a feminist spin on that. But I'll let you kind of explain it, Taylor.
Absolutely. I mean, the start of Alien Weekend was sort of, we really wanted to do a almost a Goonies-like adventure, sort of inspired by sort of the 80s John Hughes movies and stuff like that.
Yeah. This was right up my alley, Rye.
Yeah. But with 4 female leads that wouldn't typically be the leads of a movie. And so that was sort of the genesis of Alien Weekend. And in fact, it was originally called Fangirls. And then I think right before production started, we changed it to Alien Weekend just because it was a slightly funner title. But yeah.
You know, there's this scene I kind of wanted to ask you about. It's a little later in the movie, so if this is spoilers, we can edit this out in post. But they come across a mechanic. These girls are on this adventure to well, I won't exactly say, but they're mixed up with some alien hijinks, as you can imagine from the title. And they come across a mechanic who they need some help from. And it reminded me, first of all, of Adventures in Babysitting. And I wanted to ask if that was an inspiration. And then they sit down and play Dungeons and Dragons, essentially, which was hilarious. I'm curious, where did that come from? Like, there's a lot of geek culture all throughout the movie, but also, why did you change the name of Dungeons and Dragons? Were you like afraid that Wizards of the Coast would come and sue you, or you just wanted to have fun with it?
A little bit of both. One, we wanted to have our own spin so that if anybody at any point was like, hey, that doesn't actually happen in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Well, it happens in Journey of Sorcerers. And Journey of Sorcerers, the name came from the Eagles song, which is also the opening song to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Which Don't Panic was another alternative title that we were going to call the movie at one point. So it all sort of tied in together.
I'm currently reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. First time for me.
It's a great. I haven't read it yet, but it's a great movie. But the whole Dungeons and Dragons element purely came from again pushing people into their own sort of uncomfortable zone of the character that you talked about, the mechanic, he's almost the troll under the bridge part of the story, where like to once they get there, they have to play his game to be able to move on to the rest of the story. But we had so much fun with that story that I think it ended up being a little bit longer than we had originally anticipated.
I think that's what makes it work, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
The pace is really brisk. It does feel like an adventure. If I already asked it, but like, where'd the whole thing like germinate from? Like the idea for this? It was written at a time where I just wanted to write something that was really fun and that had all the references that I would like in a movie. We had done sort of a series of slightly more serious films, and I just wanted something that I would sit down on a Sunday and watch. And also, I really knew that there would be an audience that would understand all the sort of deep cuts and sort of the things that they talk about and all the little references here and there that are sprinkled in. I knew that the other me's out there would appreciate it. So that's sort of the movie that I wanted to watch. And Jada, I don't think, understood most of them.
It's hilarious because the movie is so versatile that even a person who doesn't know half of I made references in the movie that I didn't know until later or while filming. But when I read the script, I just absolutely wanted to be a part of it. But there were so many things that he had to explain to me as we were filming because I was like, oh, yeah, I've never seen that.
Now, you guys are engaged. Did the engagement happen before you guys started shooting, during, or after?
No, so we met on Alien Weekend.
Oh, you met on
wow.
the movie.
Hey,
Wow. So this is moving quite fast.
Yes. So, well, it doesn't feel fast for us. I mean, in the span of when the movie came out, very fast. But yeah, we met on Alien Weekend. There was like relationships forming left and right. It was very fun. Like, and I mean that in a joking way, like not actually, but there was this cast connected unbelievably fast, and sort of like I don't think we've ever done a film where the cast got along so well. Literally, I don't think that there was a moment that they ever wanted to spend apart from each other. Specifically, the lead four actresses were just like four peas in a pod. It was a really cool experience on set.
Yeah,
Well,
go ahead,
there was
Jada.
always like flirting with each other, but it wasn't like real flirting because like all of us were just I don't know. It was all very jokey, but we all just loved each other, so it was a really good experience.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the cast. Let's talk about that a bit with Jada. Like this little group of girls. There's four women, and they connect so well. You got sort of like the Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. You got the Trekkie nerd, and then kind of like the bubbly, like almost my interpretation, like a Baby Spice, and then you're kind of playing the straight woman, like the sort of like deadpan. How did those personalities play off each other, and was that something you guys brought, or was that like informed by the script?
We got along super well. And when I originally auditioned for this movie, I auditioned for Tess, the Trekkie character.
Interesting.
I don't know anything about Star Trek, but I liked her and the way that she was kind of the one that was like, guys, let's not do this. Because for me, that's what I connected with the most. So when he told me that I should play Violet, I was really hesitant. And then as we were on set and I was talking to the girls, I was like, I'm just having a really hard time connecting with her. Like, I feel like I don't know her, or like, I don't know how to play her. And they were like, that just sounds like something she would say. And I was like, okay, now I get it. But everybody got along really well. I would say everybody has a touch of the character. Like each person embodied the character, like their own selves into the character a little bit. But for the most part, I would say they're just pretty good actors and did a good job of playing somebody they're not. I mean, specifically the girl who played Gertie is much girlier in real life. She's
kind of a sporty, yeah.
Yeah. So
by the way, were the Spice Girls prototypes just in my head, or was that like something that was intended?
You know, it's funny. I can't even remember if there's like a Spice Girls reference in there.
I don't think there is.
Absolutely, it was sort of that dichotomy of the four was probably very unintentionally so.
Interesting.
So the great thing is a lot of times when we interview independent filmmakers and such, a movie might be in the works. This one's actually out and people can rent it right now. Is it on all the platforms? I know Matt rented it on Amazon.
I got it on Prime, yeah.
Is it on all of them?
We are currently, I believe, now on Amazon, Tubi, Roku, and a few others, but I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But those are the main places that you can go and watch it right now.
So, real quick before we wrap up, I'm curious. Like a lot of people who listen to this don't understand like how like the studio system works and this and that. Like when it comes to independent filmmaking, what's the biggest hurdle to getting something like this from a script to on Amazon?
So I think that we are definitely, I think, in a unique situation, us New Zealand Sun Films, where we are completely self-sufficient. We don't operate inside of a studio system. We basically are our own independent micro studio. We greenlight all of our own projects. We are responsible for everything. Everything that you ever sort of see of ours is literally just Sean, who's my father, and myself. everything start to finish, from the writing, casting, editing to when it's actually, streaming in your house. That is all a product of us. But the most difficult part would probably be getting the right cast together. I mean, after the right cast is sort of in place, that is 90% of the work done right there, as this cast was. I mean, it was not a walk in the park, but it was one of the most stressful times of my life. But the cast just made it every single day just, so much fun to actually be on set and creating something that was just fun. So
yeah, this film really tickled me. It was really funny in ways I wasn't expecting. It definitely speaks to nerd culture and people who are into comic books and D&D and stuff like that. But I also don't think it's exclusive to the nerd set. Like, if you just like a fun romp of a adventure movie with some laughs
and an alien egg,
you could do a lot worse than Alien Weekend. This was a fun movie.
For sure. Jawheads, you can watch this movie, as we said, out on Tubi, Amazon, so forth, and leave them a review. I saw, I know these independent, we always push it here on the podcast. Same with these smaller films. More reviews on these platforms, the better. Helps attract more views. So,
yeah.
Definitely. Before we wrap up the interview, we are still celebrating Tim Burton. I'm going to put you guys on the spot here. What is your favorite Tim Burton movie? You can each get a shot here. What do you got?
Jada?
Do you not know?
I know.
You go.
Big Fish. Absolutely one of my only one of my favorite Tim Burton movies, but probably one of my most favorite movies of all time. Just that one never fails to get me.
I'm a huge Tim Burton fan, so for me it's between Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with Corpse Bride just because I listened to Remains of the Day today. Danny Elfman I love him. And
genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For some reason, I jammed out to that in my car today, so I'm going to go with that one.
Did you see the latest Beetlejuice?
Not yet.
We haven't yet.
You're in for a treat.
We were both fans.
Yeah, we were big on it for sure.
Yes, good stuff. So Jada and Taylor sitting in on this entire Jaw. They have their top 5 favorite.
Clooney Pitt.
Yeah,
Clooney Pitt.
Clooney Pitt movies.
Hey, sometimes you just want to get into a Clooney Pit.
Yes. Before we get there, up first we have a review of Wolves. It's been several years since we saw the duo of George Clooney and Brad Pitt appear in the same movie together. Of course, they made the Oceans movies and also were both in Burn After Reading. Well, they are back together in the new Apple TV Plus movie, Wolves. Can their chemistry together result in the ultimate fixer movie? Matt Kay and I hit the theater to find out.
How did you get this number?
I was told that if I ever needed help, to call you.
You're a man who can fix things. I didn't know people like you really existed.
They don't. There's nobody can do what I do.
Who are you?
I'm here to take care of your problem. Who called you?
If you have seen the trailer for this movie, then you have the premise. We open up with Amy Ryan in a hotel room with a dead body, and she must make a call to someone she can trust to fix things up. Enter George Clooney. Enter Brad Pitt. Clooney was summoned by Amy Ryan's phone call, while Brad Pitt was summoned by the hotel owner who knows of the situation as well. The funny thing is that none of them knew each other existed. They each thought they were the best fixer around. Both are lone wolves by nature, but now they have to work together to clean up one messy night. Hint, it's not as simple as getting rid of just one dead body. The script works well because of the star power on screen. Now, I'm not sure this material would work if we had 2 lesser-known actors playing the roles. The movie was more or less written, in my opinion, for the star power of a Brad Pitt
Kevin
and a
Hart,
George
The Rock.
Clooney.
Would have been fine.
They're still stars, though. I'm saying, like, not such big stars, right? It's banking on that A-list power. That's what I mean. I found the opening to be a little slow, and while some jokes landed, the overall vibe would best be described as low-key. It's not until the young actor Austin Abrams appears on screen that things pick up. As the plot deepens, it actually gets a little confusing, but the specifics of the plot are not that important, actually. The focus of the film is the relationship between Pitt and Clooney's characters and how that grows over this one crazy night. Matt and I saw this in the theater, and it is getting a small theatrical release before landing on Apple TV Plus on the 27th of September. I think Apple made the right call, as I would not recommend spending money on this in the theater, but I would recommend it on a streamer if you have the service. It's sort of right in that gray area. Matt, your thought on Woofs?
Yeah, so this is the old buddy cop formula, sort of subverted. I don't want to give it that much credit, but at least it's a fresh take on the buddy cop formula where these two characters are the same person, and they have to realize they each think they're the coolest guy in the room, and they have to contend with the fact that they are both the same guy. That leads to some pretty interesting situations and some pretty fun laughs. I had some laughs with this movie later on in the script. Later on, like Act 3, I got some like laugh out loud moments. But for the most part, it's subtle. I would agree with your assessment of low key. This is not a great movie, but I had a lot of fun. It's at least kind of refreshing in its originality, even though it was so predictable. But sometimes, Ryan, you just want a movie where you kind of know where things are going. You kind of want to know that the stars are bankable and dependable, and you just want to have some fun. This is a movie I would highly recommend to my mom and my dad on a date night, that kind of thing. I think it's a fine entry. And I would also say this. If you do get a chance, go ahead and see it in the theater. Buy yourself a bag of popcorn, sit back and relax. It's not a terrible movie. Does the theater add anything? No, but you can watch it with a community of people who maybe like George Clooney and Brad Pitt, and that's just fine.
So I thought that the plot, I know it's predictable, and there's beats definitely that we both saw coming because we walked out of there and we said, well, we knew this was going to happen, so on and so forth. But the overall idea of like where it was going at least kept me intrigued throughout the movie. So there was no point where I was like, my brain just turned off and I was like, all right, I'm done with this.
I will say that there's a major decision that the characters have to make that I wasn't sure which way they would take the story. I didn't know if they were going to do it or not do it.
Right.
So that was interesting.
But I do think that it's so based, like the whole movie almost feels it's based on that one, I don't want to call it a joke, but that one idea that there's two wolves out there.
Right.
And they're really banking on like, hey, this is the idea that we called for one fixer, and he comes in and he's got the line, it's George Clooney first, that says, I'm the guy that can fix things. Nobody else can do what I do. And then the doorbell rings and there's another fixer there that's basically wearing the same jacket, get up, and it's Brad Pitt, and it's like, oh my god, we got two of these guys now. What's going on?
Right. I love that. I really love that.
But it's really banking on how long can we stretch this idea for.
It works because the two men are at odds, and their relationship sort of starts to warm, as you would expect, and how it does is kind of satisfying and fun. It's fun. I'm not going to say this is a groundbreaking film or something that you need to like carry with you or think about afterwards, but it was fun.
Yeah, but for Apple TV to throw this on a streamer, solid.
Much better.
Where I think I was telling you when we came out of the theater,
It's
I think
a great Netflix film.
Their original plan was to do a full wide release, let this thing run for maybe a month in the theaters, and then not bring it to the streamer for a while. Good move pushing this short theatrical release and then throw it on Apple TV. I think it'll find a nice audience sitting on your couch. It's an enjoyable flick. It did have some decent laughs, but overall not laugh out loud a ton, more like chuckles. Haha, it's great. But what about a jaw-dropping moment? I think it's going to be it has to be the same. And I'm calling it the underwear chase.
Yeah, the underwear chase.
Right?
Yeah.
This is fantastic. This is the only moment
really good.
where I was like, all right, this is clicking for me. On all cylinders, this was great. Even though it also has my that would never happen moment.
Me too. Holy shit, me too. So they're in New York City, right?
They're in New York City. My that would never happen moment is Brad Pitt and George Clooney now at this point are chasing this young guy, and he is in nothing but his underwear.
In the winter in New York.
the winter. And correct me if I'm wrong, he's in bare feet.
Yeah, none of that is my that would never happen.
This is mine. He's in bare feet, and the idea and why this is the jaw-dropping moment is the chase is just ludicrous. It goes on for a very long time, which is very enjoyable. And they're in a car at one point. They're older, obviously, and they got to chase this young kid, which is pretty funny. But they actually go through different environments. They're running across the street. They're going through shops. They're in the subway. You would never be able to run that much in bare feet on the environments that he was in. The streets of New York City are littered with crap, and you're running on bare feet. That would never happen.
That would never happen.
It would never happen.
Never happen. My that would never happen moment is the fact that George Clooney at, let's say it's about 11 o'clock, midnight, somewhere in that general vicinity.
He's not sleeping.
No. Right. He's taking a nap at that point. He's in this car just like going the wrong way on the on-ramp and like driving all up all these streets in New York City, just generally like gunning it around, making a ton of noise, and there's no cops.
Zero?
New York City is littered with cops. There's cops on every corner. That would never happen.
It would never happen.
That would never happen. You're getting pulled over.
I do think it's later in the night than you're giving it credit for at that point.
Okay, so let's say it's 3 o'clock in the morning. There's still cops all over the place.
I agree, but in general, the streets were too just barren.
Yes.
Chicago never completely shuts down, at like 3 o'clock in the main area.
There's still
here.
people out, right?
There's still
but
some
New York,
people out, and New York clearly
the
has
city that never sleeps.
Right, and they were driving backwards down streets, and
Yeah.
there's no cars, there's nobody else out. I think
would never happen.
That would never happen. I think the whole chase scene while that kid is running, there's only one or two people that he even passes that are like wiping the floors.
But was it fun?
But it was fun.
It was fun.
That was at least the moment where our screening, everybody was laughing and enjoying the film as a whole.
That's a high moment. It's good. How about a poster quote, Ryan?
I went with this. Pitt plus Clooney equals mediocrity?
Question mark? All right. I went with Wolf's feels like a throwback to a simpler buddy movie time.
I am giving this 2 Jaws.
I was a little bit more generous. I'm going 2.5. I had fun. It was enjoyable.
All right, so 2.5 Jaws for Matt K, 2 Jaws for Rye the Movie Guy. If you agree, disagree, just want to comment on this review, shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw or our email feedback@cinemajaw.com. That gets us into our top 5 Clooney Pitt movies. And I thought this was a rather interesting top 5 to put together because I was wondering where we were all going to land on picking more Pitt against more Clooney.
They're not interchangeable. They're very different actors.
So I'm going to come out and say it after I wrote down all of the movies that I thought would be at least probable of making my top 5.
Clooney Pittable?
And all that happened was I had so many more Brad Pitt movies than I had George Clooney.
Same.
Everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's because Brad Pitt makes more movies.
He does have more movies. But
he
just makes better
movies.
films, and he makes some great films.
Oof.
Wow, I really could almost went all 5 Brad Pitt, but then I thought, what if George Clooney's listening to this podcast?
What do you mean, what if?
And then what do I got to explain to him why I put all 5 Brad Pitt movies on here?
Yeah. No more Casamigos tequila for you, buddy. You're cut off.
Exactly. All right, so Jada, Taylor, you're our guest. You guys get to kick off this top 5. What do you got sitting at your number 5 pick between Clooney and Pitt?
Number 5 pick. All right, so bottom of the list. What do you think we're going with?
Well, I just want to clarify that I don't watch very much either Brad Pitt or George Clooney. So this was mostly just him because didn't even have enough time to watch any.
Too many Tim Burton,
plausible deniability.
too many Tim Burton movies for Jada.
But I have seen some of them, and they are on the list. So
Okay.
Yeah. For number 5, I think that we are definitely going with Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a great pick, actually.
it's one of the ones I've seen.
Yes.
Wes Anderson.
We love Wes Anderson, and George Clooney was a great choice for Mr. Fox.
I agree. I think like because he had done Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which may come up, he sort of had that huckster con man personality which fit Mr. Fox perfectly.
It really did. The whole cast, actually, the voice cast is perfect there. Meryl Streep is the wife.
Can't go wrong with those folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, can we throw this in the fish tank? That is the only George Clooney animated performance. But throw it in the fish tank. Let me know what else he's done.
KP's already wagging her head, yeah.
If I'm wrong on that.
Wagging is the key here.
What do you got sitting there at number 5, man?
Ooh, I know where you're going with that. All right.
Literally, it's so obvious. Ryan's going to be so angry with himself when he realizes.
Now I'm already thinking.
I also went with...
so obvious.
It's obvious, yeah. I also went with Clooney at number 5, and it's a great movie. It won an Oscar, Up in the Air.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anna Kendrick, who I had not been super aware of at that time. Like, I know she'd done a lot, and all I knew was, like, she was a singer. Like, star from musicals. I think she had done some drama at that point, too. I don't know why. She wasn't on my radar, and then Up in the Air came out. Boom. Anna Kendrick suddenly everywhere in my life. Like, can't walk down the block without running into an Anna Kendrick poster or something.
I also think the great thing about Up in the Air is Clooney's a movie star at that point, and he gets hurt in the movie. He's very vulnerable because he's in love with that Vera Farmiga.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't quite go his way for a little while there, and we're
used to him being the guy that things go his way.
Yeah. And, it's like, oh, okay, so this happens to other guys where, you get hurt.
Yeah.
You can't have it all.
I'm sure George Clooney's just fine.
But I agree.
In that movie, maybe not so much.
It blew Anna Kendrick up big time. I mean, that's definitely put her on everybody's radar if she wasn't on there already.
Yep. Like the kid from Wolves.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, my number 5 pick. I don't know if you've even seen this movie yet, Matt, but I like it once I bring it up. I went Brad Pitt for my number 5. Didn't think this would come up on anyone else's 5, but I went with The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Have not seen it. Still think the title is a little bit of a mouthful.
Have you guys seen it?
I have seen it. I can almost guarantee that Jada hasn't seen it. But it's a Coen Brothers film, right?
No, it is not. It's actually directed by Andrew Dominic.
Oh, no, it's not a Coen Brothers film, but it is a Roger Deakins shot film.
Yes, there you go.
Yes, that's right.
Let's double check that and throw it in the fish tank so that we're not wrong, but I believe you're correct. Because I actually even wrote down here how damn good looking this film is. So that completely makes sense. The only thing I have against it is it's a long film. So it's long.
It's a long title.
And it's a slow burn, but the title's great. And very famously, Brad Pitt
it is pretty evocative.
Brad Pitt actually said, the studio said, we're dropping it to just The Assassination of Jesse James. And he said, if you do that, I'm out of the picture. That's how much he wanted the full title in there. And once you see the movie and its commentary on celebrityism and the culture towards that, how everybody was like in love with Jesse James, even though he was the bad guy here. But we just couldn't get enough of that. It really means something by the coward Robert Ford. That's how we still remember him in history. When was that really the case? What a great movie, though. If you haven't seen it, man, top notch. One of the best.
All right, I got to catch up with it finally.
You like this one, though, right, Taylor?
Absolutely. In fact, it's funny how much it's like transcended just from the movie, which I'm sure people don't like. It even makes sort of a cinematic cameo in Red Dead Redemption 2, where they almost straight up rip off the train robbery scene from that film.
Yep.
It's great.
It is. It's a good one.
I've played Red Dead Redemption, Ryan.
Oh,
Does that count?
Not really.
No.
Into our 4s we go. What do you got, guys?
Number 4 also may not be one that is on many people's lists, but Meet Joe Black.
No arguments here.
No, there's an argument to be made.
Oh, okay,
Hold on, I'm not letting him off the hook here. This is, I think, kind of a weak pick, but I'll let him explain.
It's just one of those films, and maybe I saw it at the right time, but I think Brad Pitt just does such a great job of playing that character. And I know a lot of people have a lot of sort of gripes with a lot of things that he did in that. Some things may be sort of skewed as maybe not politically correct anymore, but one of the greatest meet cute scenes in probably any film I've ever seen. Very long movie, but just that whole, it's such a product of the 90s. It's a really great film in my opinion.
It also has a great car accident scene where the car just levels Brad Pitt. I mean, it is just stunning. Like, oh my God, he just killed Brad Pitt.
Absolutely. It is shocking.
It is. And has Brad Pitt ever looked prettier than in that movie? This is when he was pretty boy Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? When is he not pretty boy Brad Pitt?
But in this one, he's even the prettiest of pretty boys Brad Pitt in Meet Joe Black, I think.
Okay. Not going to argue. All right. That's your pick for Pitt. All right. Swings it to my number 4. And I'm going with a Clooney at number 4. I'm going with From Dusk Till Dawn. He plays one of the Gecko brothers alongside Quentin Tarantino himself in a rare full movie performance. Like, he always makes cameos, but he rarely has like meaty roles, and here he does. But we're talking about Clooney as the more, I guess, more put together Gecko brother. They're both psychopaths in their own right, but he's a little bit more calculating. And they walk into a den of vampires, and to see how these two criminal psychopaths sort of navigate this world of vampires. It was a fun movie, totally 90s. From Dusk Till Dawn is a landmark vampire horror movie. Perfect thing to spin this time of year. And it's my number 4.
That's a good one right there, Matt Kay.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Clooney's career, I think it needs to be mentioned.
My number 4 was actually up in the air. George Clooney.
Ooh, sorry, buddy.
That's fine. I had a few honorable mentions,
okay, you just
and
sub
I
one out.
wanted to squeeze another Clooney one on there. And this one, remember when we shot that video way back in the day with Elias and his brother Donnie Rodriguez, where we were doing a promo for the podcast?
Yeah.
And this movie came up because we went to the new 400. Remember when we were shooting at the new 400?
Yes.
And you were like, oh, I'll go see the Lorax, you said. And I said, the Lorax? Remember, I jump out of nowhere, and I'm like, go see The Descendants with George Clooney. Yeah. So that's where I'm going with number 4, The Descendants. George Clooney in there. His wife passes away. His daughter is played by Shailene Woodley. And again, another vulnerable performance by Clooney. I like when we see like a big star like that, show that he has a softer side. And The Descendants.
Strong men also cry, Ryan.
Absolutely fantastic. And you got it directed by Alexander Payne, who was coming off of Sideways and some other films. And The Descendants, if you haven't seen it, well worth a spin. You guys see this one?
I've definitely seen it. Again, Jada, most likely
Jada,
not.
don't feel bad. I haven't seen it either. I went with the Lorax. It was out at the same time, and it was much better.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just avoided these actors specifically, but I am also, for being an actress, I've always been told, shouldn't you know these movies? And I'm like,
yeah. But yeah, The Descendants is one of those films, and George Clooney does such a great job of this, of like elevating movies that I think it's very fair to say would have been slightly less of a movie had he not been in it. Because Alexander Payne, great director, but George Clooney just made that character, again, like you said, vulnerable.
Yes.
And very, very relatable, especially what he's going through in that movie. It's a very heartbreaking, but also feel-good movie, which I don't know if Alexander Payne was going for that, but it was like The Holdovers. He said he's disgusted that people think it's a warm, fuzzy Christmas movie. It was like, he just makes that kind of movie.
He does.
I agree. I like it in Alexander Payne. I got to catch up with this one.
You do. Into our 3s we go.
Moneyball.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
This is an honorable mention for me, so I'm glad it came up.
No arguments. Go ahead.
Yeah, Moneyball's just one of those movies. Again, no surprise.
I did see that one.
She has.
I don't remember much of it.
No. But and just like Jada has, for some reason, I know that we all have those actors that for some reason they just irk us, but Brad Pitt is one of those actors to Jada.
Interesting. We'll explore that.
But yeah, just Moneyball is it's such a good movie. Just I don't know what it is about it. Just I for some reason have a very soft spot for baseball movies. They're some of my favorite movies, even though I sucked at baseball. Yeah, it's just one of those underdog stories that is very infectious to watch. You can't not feel good after watching that movie.
I think the reason I liked Moneyball is because it's about changing the game. It's an underdog story, of course, and we all like that, like Alien Weekend and The Goonies and stuff like that. But it's also about how a group of players, like, I don't want to say they game the game, but they find an angle that's underexplored and they press it. And what makes it more interesting is that it's a true story. So,
Absolutely.
or a dramatized true story, but and plus Jonah Hill was excellent in that. It's just, I agree with you, man. A great movie. I'm not into baseball movies either. Like Rye the Movie Guy can't stop talking about Field of Dreams.
Oh, who doesn't like Field of Dreams? I love it. But the other thing that I think is notable is that Brad Pitt here is just so down to earth. Brad Pitt. He's not playing like a over the top character.
Not a movie star.
He's not a movie star in the movie.
Handsome, like
it's just he's playing Billy Bean as like a down to earth baseball executive kind of guy that's
chewing
like,
tobacco, spitting on his shoe. That
was
kind
great.
of guy. Yep.
And there's that close up at the end of the movie where it zooms in on his eyes while he's listening to his daughter's tape in the car, and she's singing, and it's extremely moving. Great performance by Brad Pitt. I'm so glad this came up because I would have been pissed. I wanted to get this on my top 5, and it just short. It was like my number 6.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's probably, honestly, one of his better performances.
Oh, for sure.
Because he's playing against type. All right, swinging it over to me, and I'm going with a Pitt here, too. And I'm going with one of my favorite movies of all time. You hear a snippet of it every week on CinemaJaw. What's in the Box? 7.
Used to hear that all the time.
7 is a movie that leveled me when I saw it. I think it came out in the 90s, right?
97, I believe.
Okay. Just wrecked me. Like, the first time you see 7, it's
maybe 95. Throw it in the fish tank when 7 came out.
There's so many scenes from that movie that are truly disturbing, but then it's all worth it. Like, I don't like a movie that's disturbing for the sake of being disturbing, but if it means something, if it gets you to a place where a story has meaning, it's great. And it's unfortunate that Kevin Spacey has fallen out of grace, and he's sort of an uncouth character nowadays. I really do like his performance in this as well. I mean, the whole cast: Morgan Freeman,
Gwyneth Paltrow,
everyone in it. It's a top-notch movie. It's probably one of my top 10, top 15.
It was her head in the box.
Well, we don't know for sure what was in the box, Ryan.
No,
I've seen memes where there's kittens in the box.
It's a good one. It didn't end up landing on my top 5. When was the last time you've seen 7? I think it's a rough film to watch.
It is.
So I'm like, well, man, I haven't seen 7 in 15 plus years.
There's moments of 7 I just prefer to not watch. But I'll sit down and watch 7 once every 3 or 4 years. I've seen it recently. I think the last time was about 2 years ago. So it's that good, even though it's like there's a few of the sins. It's going to depend person to person which one disgusts you or disturbs you the most that you're just going to want to skip. And I just skip that scene and get on with the movie because the whole story is worth it.
On to my number 3, and I have another George Clooney. This is my last George Clooney pick here. So, spoiler, I got 2 Brad Pitts coming up. My number 3, and it is my favorite George Clooney performance, is Michael Clayton. And this film came out in 2007.
I love how you look to them for approval.
Well, I wanted to...
You're just trying to get the nod out of them.
I already knew that you probably haven't seen Michael Clayton because it's come up.
I saw it and I forgot it instantly.
Yeah, I don't think so. And then I thought, well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully Taylor has seen the movie Michael Clayton.
Why not Jada, huh? I mean, she's a Michael Clayton
Jada's
fan.
missing a lot of these, so I don't know. That's just my assumption.
Does Clooney irk you too, Jada?
Just a wee bit. It's just the both of them have the, like, every middle-aged mom loves them, and for some
True.
reason, I hate that. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like I don't get the hype about them. I think they're good actors. I just don't like. I don't fawn over them like I've seen women like they're like, oh my God, Brad Pitt. And I'm like, sure.
That's how Matt is over here too.
With Brad Pitt
Yeah,
specifically?
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm more of a Clooney guy.
But Michael Clayton, much better film about a fixer than Wolves.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I recommended to my mom.
Yeah.
To be fair.
And the film has, it's the film that actually got Tilda Swinton her Oscar. That's what she won the Academy Award for. Also has Tom Wilkinson pouring in a wonderful performance. And Clooney's fantastic in it. So I have nothing but praise for Michael Clayton. If you haven't seen it, Jawheads, I think this is Clooney's best.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. It's the highest I've rated a Clooney film on this.
All right.
And I gave this one some thought. So that's where I landed.
Fair enough, Ryan.
Into our twos we go. What do you got, guys?
Two, I think we've got, now Jada has seen this one, but it is I'm sorry if I'm axing some of your guys' picks, but...
Wait, are you putting that one above?
Yes.
This one above that one?
And it's okay if you axe our picks, because we both have some honorables we can sub in.
Now, for the number two, I'm going with the Clooney Pitt combo in Ocean's 11.
There you go. Needs to be mentioned when you're talking
Absolutely.
Clooney Pitt. Yeah.
Now, it could almost be substituted with sort of 11, 13, 12, but and that's sort of my order of the films, but they're just as we were talking about it earlier, they're just some of those movies that you can just put on almost at any time and have, no matter when you catch it on TV, it's just an enjoyable watch.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I never did go back and watch the Frank Sinatra.
Nor have I.
Have you guys seen the Frank Sinatra one?
Oh, we're terrible.
We got to do that because there's a huge Frank Sinatra nod in Wolves, which we mentioned. And anyway, when it comes to a heist movie, it's basically the prototype, right? You say it's like Ocean's 11.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
What
like
a
it.
cast. Like it.
Yep. All right. Swings it back over to me into the heavy hitters. At number 2, I'm going with Clooney, believe it or not, with Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
This high. All right.
I think this is a great movie. This is the Coen brothers, and it is a ambitious film, even for them, in that it tackles Homer's The Odyssey. And now, when you take Homer's Odyssey and you adapt it into a Coen brothers film, that's a tall order. And I think they pulled it off in a lot of ways. It's got a wonderful cast. I forget the guy who plays Buster. Buster Scruggs is the character he plays in the other Coen brothers movie. I forget that actor's name. Can we toss it in the fish tank? Buster Scruggs. He's great. The whole cast is amazing. And Clooney belts out. It's not him singing, but he acts. So this is the thing, right? Like when actors have to pretend to play an instrument or pretend to sing, and that can't be easy, like to pantomime that. And I think he did it so well that he fooled many, many people, people maybe not in the know, who just thought that Clooney was singing that song. When he steps up to that mic and belts out that, I am the man of constant. Like, we all kind of thought, oh, crap, can he sing? No, turns out. Great movie, though. One of my all-time faves.
It's a good one. I need to see it some more. I've only seen it one time.
Really?
Only one time.
That almost counts as a didn't watch for you.
No, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see it a second time. My number 2 pick, I actually saw multiple times. Saw it twice in the theater, once on Blu-ray. It is a Brad Pitt film, a Quentin Tarantino film. Where am I going here? He's got
Once
a couple.
Upon a Time?
I'm going Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as my number 2 pick. This one, on the third watch, is when I really raised it way up. Now I really realize how damn good this movie is. Obviously, Pitt won Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this one. He plays the stunt double to Leonardo DiCaprio's Rick Dalton. And DiCaprio's fantastic in this as well.
Sure.
Pitt equally is great. We were talking about how good we like Margaret Qualley in The Substance last week, and she's excellent in this movie as well.
Oh, she's in that?
Yeah, she's the
that's
hippie
right.
girl.
She's one of the hippies, yeah.
Yep. And I love that whole scene when they go to Tex his ranch.
The ranch, yeah.
That entire scene's great.
That's the Manson Ranch,
It's
yeah.
unbelievable. And Brad Pitt through and through, fighting Bruce Lee, all the scenes. I mean, he's awesome. And that ending moment when they're finally at the house and he's on drugs and all hell breaks loose, it's Pitt at his best.
I think Pitt had a higher hill to climb with his character because DiCaprio just gets to be like over the top and like evocative and just like, manic. But Pitt has to be this subtle, mysterious guy and somehow still get the acting through.
True.
It's harder.
Yes. DiCaprio does have that great role where he's has that scene in the movie where he's shooting the movie with the little girl
with
and
the kid.
Yes, I mean that's one of the better acting moments I've seen in a long time.
But that's with two people. Like if his co-star didn't bring it in that scene, it wouldn't have worked. Pitt acts alone and still like gets this character across. Like he's so cool. I think he's great in
It's
this.
a great movie all around. That's why it's at my number 2. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Into our ones we go. What do we have sitting there? Jada, Taylor?
Actually, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was at our number 1.
Oh, there you go.
No arguments.
It's one that I've seen, and
and you really liked as well.
And I really liked it. I specifically, I'm a fan of true crime, but also sort of disturbing gore. So especially in the big scene when the
Manson family breaks in. Yeah.
When they break in and that whole, it's very gruesome, but like I'm a fan of like Hereditary and Midsommar, and so that kind of
ditto.
I like when people push it, like show you the things that usually other movies would cut away from. And I think they did an excellent job in that movie, and I do think that Brad Pitt did a really good job in that film as well. And maybe it's because he was more subtle. I don't know.
He was very good in it.
Yeah.
And but so taking the place of our number 1, then we're going to push up Curious Case of Benjamin Button, the Brad Pitt.
Oof.
It is I can't remember if it's his second or third film with
Fincher.
David Fincher, but it's just one of those movies that for some reason just hits the sentimental mark. Some people think he was just copying Forrest Gump basically with the sentiment of it, but it hits it for me. It's just one of those movies where every actor in it just gives a really, really great performance.
I still haven't seen Benjamin Button.
It's got a Cate Blanchett performance in there that's pretty solid as well. I wasn't the biggest fan. I have only seen it once, so I'll just leave it there. I've only seen it one time. Need to revisit it. But it goes backwards.
It does.
Like Momentum.
Right. Like Dorian Gray.
Matt, you're number 1.
Okay. At number 1.
We have the same number 1. I'm sure we do.
Okay. I'm going with Pitt.
I'm going with Pitt.
Based on a book.
Based on a book.
It is Fight Club.
Also Fight Club. Yes, there was no doubt. I was thinking that this had to be your number 1. This is where I landed also.
I think...
Can I preface something?
Go ahead, please. Yes.
There's somebody here who does not know the spoiler to, or the twist to Fight Club.
KP, yeah, you're right.
Don't feel like you can't.
So
say
we won't
it.
spoil.
I won't spoil anything.
The
I won't
twist
spoil
is that
anything.
the Pixies are washed up.
Oh,
Pixies
jeez, bite your
song.
tongue.
What are you?
Oh my
I'm not
God.
I'm not taking that back. Are you
One of the
kidding
great,
me?
we've
KP, you
talked
just-
about this on the Jaw before. One of the great endings of all time with the Pixies playing. I mean, it's just literally incredible.
Yeah.
You've met me at a really strange time.
Yeah. Okay. No spoilers, Jada. You do need to watch Fight Club. But I will say this. It is... There's just no way to dance around this. I think it is like a quintessentially masculine film. And not necessarily in a bad way. I don't think it represents toxic masculinity. I think it explores masculinity in a way that is insightful, and it shows how things can be toxic and sort of veer back. It has a lot to do with mental health and aggression and
Consumerism.
Oh yeah, there's so many themes. There's so I think if you watch this movie from just about any different point of view, you can take something away from it. I have read the book. Have you?
I have not.
Okay, it's a brilliant book. The movie stays pretty close to the themes of the book. I think there are some obvious artistic licenses taken, but just sticking to the movie, dude, it's an all-time 90s banger classic.
It really is. And why it landed at my number one ultimately, too, was I think this is the movie where, I'm not saying that Brad Pitt wasn't already a name, but I think this solidified him as an absolute rock star of a movie star.
With rock-hard abs.
It was like, holy shit, who the hell is this guy? It's Brad Pitt. From there on out, he was a movie star after Fight Club. There was before Fight Club and after Fight Club, Brad Pitt.
Jared Leto.
He was never going back below the A-list after that movie.
Agreed. Jared Leto, Meatloaf.
Right, Meatloaf is in there.
On the side
Helena Bonham Carter
Helena
also,
Bonham Carter.
and she's excellent.
On the side of Cards Against Humanity was the picture of Edward Norton hugging Meatloaf.
Yeah,
with his big boobs.
Well, they call them bitch tits in the movie.
They do. Yeah, which, by the way, I wanted to mention in Alien Weekend, we get the term Skittle tits, and I am stealing that. That is now.
You can thank my mom for that.
Oh,
I
wow.
That's been in her
Thanks, Taylor's mom.
Of terms since I was a kid.
That is going into my lexicon. So I actually jotted it down. Skittle tits.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those are our number ones. Honorable mentions that didn't come up that were also very close to it was Inglourious Bastards.
Needs to be mentioned.
I love Brad Pitt's performance in there as well. And I like Brad Pitt in Babylon. I was a humongous fan of Babylon. So that also needed to be mentioned. The other ones have all been talked about.
I got a couple. I think when you're talking Brad Pitt, you got to at least mention Cool World. It bears mentioning. He's a smaller character, but important. True Romance, again, small performance, but Floyd is like a character that's kind of like got a cult status. 12 Monkeys. Mm-hmm. Amazing that these are all Pitt. Burn After Reading. That was
they're both in there.
They're both Clooney and Pitt. You're right. And then we already said Once Upon a Time. So there you go. Those are my honorables. You guys got any?
We have one, and it is Bullet Train.
For sure.
And also Bullet Train actually interrupted filming of one of our films, where one of our actors plays the Yakuza boss in that film, and he had to leave halfway through to go shoot Bullet Train and then come back. So shout out to Nobuaki Shimamoto. But yeah, Bullet Train, great film.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Jawheads, if we missed your favorite Brad Pitt or George Clooney film, and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw or our email feedback at cinemajaw.com. We are taking a quick break. When we come back, we still have a review of Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. Plus, we're going to play some trivia. Stick with us.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Burton's Batman is a landmark film from 1989 that definitely cemented the superhero genre into the popular zeitgeist, not due in small part to the amazing performance from Jack Nicholson as the Joker. In this scene, he is toe-to-toe with the great Jack Palance, one-arm push-up man himself. Hear these two titans chew up the scenery.
That you, Sugar Bumps? Who the hell are you?
It's me, Sugar Bumps.
Oh, thank God you're alive. I heard you'd been
Fried? Is that what you heard? You set me up over a woman. A woman! You must be insane. Don't bother.
Your life won't be worth spit!
I've been dead once already. It's very liberating. You should think of it as therapy.
Jack, listen. Maybe we can cut a deal.
Jack? Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
Sparkling drinks, it's awful a dandy, 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 dandy.
We are back on CinemaJaw. We're hanging out with Taylor King and Jada Krueger. They have a movie out on Amazon Prime right now and some other services as well, entitled Alien Weekend. And Ryan, we did throw a few items into the fish tank. I think it's high time we threw a hook in and found out the answers to our questions.
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up! No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Thank you so much. All right, hold on. There's like always, I don't know what happens, but there's always like this weird stinging sensation in my mouth when I get let out of here. But I fixed it so far. It sucks because I actually do have to. It's not just live bait that I am eating this week, but my own words. Our first thing that we threw in here was what else has George Clooney voice acted in, and in an iconic KP fashion, I am abundant with hubris and overconfidence. We were talking about the Fantastic Mr. Fox, and here I was certain that he was back for Isle of Dogs. He wasn't.
Interesting. I believed you.
I did too, because once you said Wag Wag, I said, oh, he was in Isle of Dogs.
Right.
And then we were on to the next thing, and I didn't give it much thought.
It seems, and I think when I was looking
into this, I almost want to double check that. Really,
when I like sure quadruple checked because it was like. I really did not want to have to put my pride on the shelf right now, but I am. I think I must have been confusing it with Edward Norton. Now, the good news is he still has had other voice acting roles. One of them, did we do a George Clooney month on the show?
Not to my knowledge.
I'll have to look.
Because I knew another one of these roles in the back of my mind. He had two other performances. The first one was the South Park movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew this because at some point in time we have had to read the fact about how he got that role because Matt Stone and Trey Parker liked him a lot, and all he did was say bark bark.
Counts.
It counts.
He's
and it's
credits.
a dog, so maybe not on the aisle, but there. And then in the most recent Ryan Reynolds masterpiece, he does show up. Yeah, he is an If.
He is an If. Interesting.
But I don't know if we count the second one. I really do either of these count? I don't know. It's suspect, but my pride may have been put back up on the shelf, but it's a low shelf.
It's a credit. He got a paycheck. They count.
Absolutely. Bottom shelf or not, I don't care. Our next question, who is the DP for the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford? And that is Roger Deakins.
It is.
It is Roger Deakins.
Makes complete sense. Absolutely.
Deakins.
Beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This one was fun. To be honest, there's been so much going on that I completely forgot we even talked about it. But when did 7 come out? Ryan's right on the money. It is 1995. Mm-hmm. I can see why he thought it was 2 years later, because if they released it in 97, it does feel a little bit more appropriate. Filmmakers just clearly didn't think that through.
I got to rewatch 7.
95.
Yeah.
Good one.
And then our last one, who is the actor who in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, who was also Buster Scruggs? That is Tim Blake Nelson.
Yes, Tim Blake
Nelson.
Underappreciated.
Absolutely. Has some good stuff. Lincoln with Daniel Day. He was in one of the cockroaches in Joe's apartment I was looking up.
Wow.
Really, like, it's just like how you guys are talking about Toby Jones, where it's like this guy is in a lot of stuff and we just don't realize, like, he's kind of a Toby
he's all
Jones.
over the place. He was in the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie, and they set him up to be the next big villain in the Marvel Universe, and then it never came to pass.
There's a lot of stuff where it's like, yeah, not all of it's good. He was in the Minority Report remake. And a lot of stuff, not all of it's good, but he himself typically is good. He's in the new Watchmen.
I don't know, the Minority Report remake. What do you got there? Was it a TV show? Or
2002 one.
Oh, that's the only one. Yeah.
Wasn't there one from the 80s?
No.
What am I thinking?
I don't know. That's the only one, but that's good. But the thing is, when you brought it up and you couldn't think of his name, boy, did it throw me off, because then I was,
going through his filmography. What is his name? I still don't know.
Yeah. Tim Blake Nelson.
Tim Blake Nelson.
I'm thinking of Total Recall. I apologize. Total Recall remake sucks.
True.
But whatchamacallit, great actor.
Yeah.
For sure. Was that everything?
That's all we got.
All right. Next week on the show, big 2 reviews. We got The Wild Robot.
Oh, yeah.
And Megalopolis.
Oh, yeah.
2 big reviews. You're going to miss Megalopolis because they're happening at the same time.
Oh, you bet your ass I'm going to miss Megalopolis. I'm going to the Wild Robot.
I've already seen the Wild Robot. So
hey, everybody out there, miss Megalopolis, hit the Wild Robot. That is my steadfast advice to you, which will be proven correct.
All right. That's now everything. Jump back in there.
You bet.
Everybody's looking for a hero. I am not a hero. That was a part. I played the part. I'm not that man.
Hands down, he was Superman from day one.
I realized that if I could pull off this part, it would change my life.
John Houseman said, Mr. Reeve, it is very important to become a serious classical actor. Unless, of course, they offer you a load of money to do something else.
That clip is from the new film Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, a documentary that discusses the life of Christopher Reeve from his rise to fame through his terrible accident. The doc jumps back and forth from his early days in Hollywood, landing the role of Superman as an unknown, and his life after his horse riding accident that left him paralyzed from the neck down. We get some home video footage along with old appearances by Reeve on various talk shows. We also get friends of the actor talking about him, such as Glenn Close and Susan Sarandon. Christopher Reeve also had 3 children, and they are interviewed the most in the film. We hear about how full of life he was and how difficult it was for him in the weeks after the accident. As much as I liked hearing about his Superman role, I was more inspired by what he did and how he fought for his life after the accident. He is and always will be my Superman. One of the most perfect casting decisions, I think, in the history of Hollywood, my opinion. This movie only cements that comment. Big fan of Christopher Reeve. Big fan of this movie.
I mean, I can't argue with your assertion that he was the right choice at the right time. Obviously, superhero casting has come a long way. Was there any takeaways from that, like a casting decision?
Yes. So I'll give you my jaw-dropping moment. Well, there's a couple. One jaw-dropping moment was when they're going to cast Superman. They just briefly talk about how everybody in Hollywood wanted this. It was starting to become a thing. Can they make this into a real motion picture? Let's be honest, they hadn't done it in any type of serious fashion up until this point. And Robert Redford wanted it, and they mentioned some names. But the name that was like a jaw-dropping moment, who auditioned for the role, was none other than Neil Diamond.
I can see it.
The singer.
Yeah. Sweet Caroline.
Yes. Would have been singing. Sweet Lois Lane. Ba, ba, ba. But I love Neil Diamond, and I just got such a kick out of the fact that guy walked in and had a casting shot at Superman is hysterical. And then they discuss how they thought there's just no way anybody's going to believe the title character if they already know the actor. And so the producers and everybody got together and said, we got to cast an unknown in Superman. Let's surround him with the greats. And I mean, it's legendary now that Christopher Reeve, who was Superman, was credited 3rd or 4th in the film. Marlon Brando got top billing in the movie. Gene Hackman after that. And
Marlon Brando barely does anything in the movie.
Oh yeah, but I mean, he was the biggest star at the time. I mean, that was it. And so, and then obviously Gene Hackman, one of the greats of all time too. And then you have like Christopher Reeve, who would obviously cement himself as a megastar just for this one role. And I know you know Superman better, longer, more variations of Superman.
Maybe, yeah. I'm a Marvel guy, but...
yeah, but I've never read a comic. I didn't even really know the cartoons that he was in. It was just not my thing. But these movies came out, the first one I think is like 78. So these movies were just basically existed while I was a kid. And when I grew up and they were on cable or on TV, and I saw Superman 1 and Superman 2, which are both excellent, I literally, probably because I was a kid, could never not see Christopher Reeve as Superman. Like, it's so cemented in my mind as like, well, that's who it is. Like, everybody else is just trying to be like Christopher Reeve as Superman. And I think that comes off as how great he was as the Clark Kent. And they show this one moment where he was trying to tell Lois, I think it's in Superman 2, where Lois goes into like the bathroom and he has this moment where he's like, all right, this is where I'm going to tell her I'm actually Superman. And so he's just on screen by himself and he takes his glasses off, and literally is, because they highlight this moment, the transformation in his entire body and face goes from just taking off the glasses from clumsy Clark Kent to holy crap, this is Superman. And then he gets chicken that he doesn't want to tell her. And so then she comes out and he puts the glasses back on and instantly goes back to the Clark Kent character.
Wow. I got to see that.
And it's, I mean, he doesn't do much, but once they highlight it, it's like, yeah, he really was doing some major acting there between those two characters.
Interesting. That's interesting.
How he blew up and how everybody just looked at him as Superman, because we hadn't had anybody playing a superhero before. And you see these interviews that he did where he's
Adam
talking.
West obviously beat him to it,
but I'm talking on a major motion picture. So Christopher Reeve was obviously a big star at the time.
Yes.
So much so that he obviously struggled getting other roles, very much like Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. And we see some of those struggles. But his roommate, through all these struggles, helped him out. Robin Williams, his best friend in life.
I didn't know that.
We get a lot of great footage between Robin Williams and Christopher Reeve. That was excellent. Touching, obviously, since we've both lost these actors. Excellent film.
Nice.
I know you'll never see it, Matt, but the movie poster quote I'll go with is,
maybe I will.
You don't need a cape to be a hero. 3 Jaws for Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. All right, Matt, here we go. We like to end these podcasts with some fun trivia. And in honor of the movie Wolves, or Wolves, I guess is the way it's actually said, we are playing Wolf movie trivia. Jada, Taylor, you're our guest. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt K go first. There are steals if somebody doesn't know their question, and they start off easy, guys. What do you want to do?
You want to go first, or should we hand it off?
I don't really care.
All right, let's hand it off.
Oh, okay.
All right.
They defer.
Question number 1 over to Matt K. Matt.
Yeah.
Who replaced Michael J. Fox and starred in Teen Wolf 2?
Oh, Patrick Bateman.
That is correct. No.
Bateman. Mr. Bateman.
We will give it to you. What's his first name, though?
Jason.
There you go. All right.
Patrick Bateman is from American Psycho.
I love that. Freudian slip.
Question number 2. Who directed and starred in Dances with Wolves?
Kevin Costner.
That is correct. It's 1-1. Question 3 over to Matt K.
Okay.
Who played the character the Wolf in Pulp Fiction?
Harvey Keitel.
That is correct. Wow, everybody's zooming along here. Let's keep it perfect. Question 4, back over to Jada and Taylor. Name the 2011 Liam Neeson film that sees him fight off wolves in Alaska in order to survive.
You just say it.
The Gray.
It is The Gray.
Terrifying movie.
Good film, though.
Yeah, surprisingly.
For a Liam Neeson fighting wolves movie, it's about as good as you can get. 2-2. Question 5 over to Matt K. Here we go, Matt. Name the 2010 movie that starred Benicio del Toro Anthony Hopkins and Emily Blunt.
2010?
2010.
Oh, Wolfman.
It was the Wolfman, yes. 3-2. Still everybody perfect. Question 6. In 1994, Jack Nicholson made a romantic horror film titled Wolf. Which actress played the lead opposite him? Jack Nicholson and who in Wolf?
You ever seen it?
I've never seen it, but I'm gonna have to hand it up. But I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna say Michelle Pfeiffer.
That is correct.
Wow, good guess.
Fantastic.
I was going to say Cher, so you got it.
I love it. All right, everybody's still perfect through 6 questions, so it comes down to the last 2. Matt, name the actor who starred in Go, Double Dragon, and voiced a role in the movie Snow Dogs.
Wow. Damn. Those are some craptastic movies, except Go is pretty damn good. Go, Double Dragon, and Snow Dogs?
Correct.
Holy shit. Who's in Go? Cuba Gooding Jr.
Ah.
I really have no clue on this one.
Incorrect. Jada, Taylor, you got a chance for a steal. Go, Double Dragon, and voiced a role in Snow Dogs.
I didn't even know they made a Double Dragon movie.
Voiced a role in Snow Dogs. God, I have no idea. I can't even guess of who would be in all those. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass.
Who is it?
We're looking for Scott Wolf. Scott Wolf.
Wolf.
You see what we did here.
Wolf.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. He was in Party of Five back in the 90s. He
Yeah.
really didn't have much of a career, but he was in these 3 movies. Scott Wolf. All right, this is what's great, is it's tied 3-3, and the last question is down to you guys. You can win it with a walk-off right here. Name the 1991 Disney movie starring Ethan Hawke, who plays Jack Conroy, and who goes to Alaska in search of gold, and there's a wolf involved. Ethan Hawke, 1991. They've remade this movie as well. I believe there was a remake on Netflix.
It is not an animated film?
It is not an animated film.
God, I have no idea. I'm going to have to skip.
Matt, any guess on this one?
Okay, Ethan Hawke?
Correct.
1991?
Yeah.
He's a prospector in the north?
In Alaska.
Uh-huh.
Looking for gold.
Yeah.
And there's a wolf involved.
The Adventures of Natty Gann.
We're looking for White Fang. White Fang.
That's yeah. Maybe give me a half an hour and I could have come up with that.
Hey, they get hard at the end there. That's what.
Hey, fair enough.
I write trivia right down the line. You see how hard it got at the end?
It did. It did. There's a steep incline.
So it's a tie. It comes down to a jawbreaker here. And it's this. The age of Ethan Hawke currently closest to, Matt, you got to guess on how old Ethan Hawke is.
Okay. I would venture to guess that Ethan Hawke is probably pushing 60, but maybe not quite over the line there just yet. So I will put his age at 58.
Lock him in at 58. What do we got, guys?
I say 59, so now I don't know.
$1, Bob.
Well, we can either go over or under. What do you think?
I think he's older.
59.
Man, it pains me to say this. Matt wins this one.
Ooh,
oh, he was 53.
He's only 53?
Only 53.
Get the fuck out of here.
Unbelievable. I think that's way too low also.
And double check that.
I am going to double check it because I actually asked Alexa because I was in a rush today. I was running through my notes, as we know.
We can't trust Alexa.
And so I was like, whoa. I was like, here, I got to have a jawbreaker just in case. I'm typing this in right now.
This is live on the show. We are Googling
Ethan
this.
Hawke, age.
53 how many years ago?
Because, wow.
53 years old?
Wow. Now, I'm not saying he
Google's
looks...
saying he's 53.
I'm not saying he looks like he's older or anything like that. But
I think he's just been around for so long
so
that
long.
In our minds we think he's close to 60. I would have thought the same thing.
Yeah. Well, hey, good on you, Ethan.
Wow. That was unbelievable. Brings us to the end of a very fun and entertaining Jaw. First,
wait. Hey, fist bump on the friendly competition.
And we got to thank Jada and Taylor for coming on.
Absolutely.
And awesome meeting you guys, and good luck with the film. I hope a lot of people check this one out.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Yeah, just as before we leave, just would love to say, check out Alien Weekend on Amazon Prime and leave us a review. And hope all you nerds like it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have you back again. Keep us posted on the next projects.
Absolutely.
There will be a few more coming out in the next.
Yeah, we got 2 in post, and then we are starting a series in 3 weeks. So
excellent.
I
We got
love
stuff
it.
to talk about.
Good stuff. We also got to thank our producer, our editor, KP.
Of course. Thank you, boys, so much. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else with my Thursday.
Also want to thank the Patreons.
Thank you, Patreons.
Yes.
Hey, click some buttons while you're listening to this. It really does help us. Subscribe, leave us a review, all that stuff. It's free and it helps.
Yes, you can follow us on all the socials. We're CinemaJaw, from TikTok to Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere.
YouTube.
Just look up CinemaJaw. Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay.
And keep on jawing about the movies.